Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra. That is Jarvis. And you guys are our family that we appreciate you guys coming back, especially on the other side of a long holiday weekend and continuing to just download us wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate that and the 5-star reviews. And we also appreciate you guys getting us as a Locked On Sports Atlanta network almost to 4,000 subscribers. So keep subscribing, keep telling friends and family. We appreciate you guys. And we know that there is something that you guys can appreciate in what you are about to see, maybe in the next 5 days. We are T-minus 5 days to the Falcons taking the field for their 2022 campaign. Of course, the season opener against the Saints. So in that game, we kind of wonder, the roster was trimmed down to 53 last week. Practice squad was started. We saw who fell on IR and who did not. And two people that were not on IR would be that of Drake London and Bryan Edwards, right? So that kind of gave us some indication, they may be back on the mend and on the return. And of course, they returned to practice on Monday. So that got people to thinking and asking some questions of Coach Arthur Smith, one of which was, will we see Drake London in game one? His answer, he's progressing. And then when he was asked if, again, do you anticipate that London will be available? Smith said, we'll see what it looks like. So do you think that's an indicator, at least from London's perspective, that he'll play?
You know what? I think he'll play, but I think it'll be on a limited basis because when you think about how the Falcons have handled his whole situation, they've been very, very careful. Sometimes some people may even think that they may be a little bit too careful, which I can respect that. At the end of the day, of course, I want to see Drake London play and see what he's working with. But I think that if you have a guy who's had a little injury history in the past and he has an injury on that particular leg that he's had in the past, you kind of use baby steps. I hope no pun intended when it comes to a rookie wide receiver. And I think you have to work him in from time whenever you can. So I think that they'll get a good look at him this week, and I think that he'll play, but it'll definitely be on a limited basis, because I think you can't risk it too much because, like you said, you have some viable guys. You have some targets. Mariota has more people. Even if Drake London is out there, he'll still have more people to throw to than Matt Ryan did all last season.
Exactly. Yeah. There's still that unicorn out there who's going to be quite fine for the Falcons. And also, if they do get Bryan Edwards back, and again, maybe they work Bryan Edwards in as well, but you also have some decent pass catchers in the running back room. So if you combine that tight end room with the running back room and some serviceable receivers, you should still be able to have a viable passing game and a passing attack with the Saints coming in on Sunday. And let's just face it, their secondary isn't exactly their strong suit this season. So that may be also another area where maybe advantage Falcons, we shall see. But, when I think about that as well, I agree with you. You don't want to rush Drake London along if you don't have to. And you do. Yeah. And because you have someone who, and I love what Marcus Mariota said as well, because we kind of think about it also from a mental standpoint, right? Like, is he going to be someone who can jump right into whatever the game plan is that Arthur Smith and Dave are going to put in place? And Marcus Mariota said, hey, from the day he was drafted, going through OTAs, training camp, etc., he's one of the guys that literally picked up the schemes super, super fast. And so he does not doubt that when he returns, he'll be able to pick up where he left off with no issue whatsoever. So to me, I thought that was also very encouraging to hear your QB1 say that he has the confidence that if you are inserted back into the lineup, you'll be able to be inserted, despite the fact that by that time, you will have been away from game action for a month. He believes and is confident that Drake London can indeed come back and have an impact and pick up very, very quickly. But speaking of having an impact, it always does on this show for Jarvis. So tell the guys about Coffee AM that keeps you up and going.
You know what? I always pick up Coffee AM very quickly in the morning because, I always get my day started super, super early because I'm, like T and I talked about, we always say, we get off a good day, and we got to get a good workout in because that's what we're trying to do. Make sure we carry ourselves accordingly. And I know sometimes I need a little pick me up, and you can
Mm-hmm.
go to coffeeam.com/locked on if you want to get a pick me up as well. I'm gonna tell you why in just a little bit because I love my Kenya K cups. I absolutely love those bad boys because when I like to go a little quicker. Sometimes it takes a little the grind. Coffee takes a little bit longer. So, let me
Mm-hmm.
go. I need to get quick. I need to get quick, fast, in a hurry. So I drop that K cup in my coffee maker. I hit that drip button, and then next thing you know, boom, I got my coffee AM right there to get my morning going. So for all the people who are asking why you should go there, I just told you. And then for the people who are saying like once I get there, like you got to give me some incentive to go there, Jarvis. I got you. Calm down. I got you. So here what you do: coffeeam.com/locked on. Drop in the code locked on, and you're gonna get 15% off all coffee gift sets and teas. Whatever you want, go get it. And it's gonna be off of your first order, so that's 15% off. All you gotta do is drop in the coupon code box locked on, and go ahead and pull up on the best small batch coffee roaster in the entire country.
And speaking of the best, arguably in this country, in the NFL, Kyle Pitts. We
Yes.
are going to see, and it's funny because as much as we're talking about Drake London and Bryan Edwards and what that could mean to the passing attack for the Falcons, at the end of the day, that offense will start and stop with Kyle Pitts. And so when you look at Kyle Pitts year one versus year two, it looks like he really is becoming a more well rounded player. But how do you think that actually impacts specifically that has an impact on the Falcons offense?
You know what? When you think about like the type of player that he is, right? When you look at Kyle Pitts, you wouldn't necessarily. If it was 10 years ago, you like you don't play no doggone tight end, boy. You a wide receiver. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like you like Randy Moss. You know what I mean? Like or Jake Reed or some super big body wide receiver
Mhm.
that just freakishly athletic, right? But I think that those some of the things that we learned last year, right? But coming in, and the thing that I really appreciated about Kyle is like I'll never forget this. When coming into the season against the
Mhm.
Philadelphia Eagles, I asked him what was the thing that he wanted to put on display as an Atlanta Falcon and the rookie. He was like, his first thing came out of his mouth with no hesitation. He said, "My blocking. I want to
Yeah.
put that on display." And this was as a rookie tight end because
Mhm.
rookie tight ends coming into the league now really don't even have to worry about blocking. But I
Right.
think Kyle Pitts is a guy that this is something that he want to work on. I think coming into year two, like you mentioned, being more
Mhm.
comfortable, just being comfortable in who he is. Like we've seen that progression, and I think that he's added that to his game as far from a blocking standpoint. And even the defense core DNPs talked about it. Like, man, this dude being able to block as well, that means you can add him to every formation. And think about the
Mhm.
play caller that is Arthur Smith. And I'm going to champion Arthur Smith as being one of the better play callers in the NFL because he makes things easy for his quarterbacks, right?
Mhm.
So if you're able to add Kyle Pitts into whatever formation you want to know, because a lot of times when you bring Kyle Pitts into the game, especially
Mhm.
last year because he lined up outside so much, it was just like,
Right.
oh yeah, he's a wide receiver, he's not a tight
Mhm.
end. But when
Mhm.
you talk about doing that this year, being that
Yeah.
he's gotten better as a blocker,
Mhm.
that's gonna have defense coordinators guessing as to formation because a lot of times they call plays
Mhm.
accordingly to what
Yes.
formation or what the personnel is in the huddle, right? So
Mhm.
that's gonna throw everything off from a defensive standpoint, and that's gonna open up so much for Arthur Smith, who will say he is a really good play caller.
Yeah.
That's gonna put a lot of defenses on notice around the NFC South and around the NFL.
Yeah, and in addition to what he does on the field, what he's going to do physically, I think what Kyle Pitts brings to the table as far as bringing along the tight end room and bringing along the wide receiver room, I think that's huge as well. So helping a Drake London to have the game slow down a little bit faster. Let's be honest, he didn't have a lot of that last year per se, right? Because
Right?
there were
Yeah.
tight ends in the tight end room fighting for their lives, and well, we know what happened to wide receiver one. So he
Yes.
really did not have a lot of the mentoring opportunities per se that he can give to a Drake London or more importantly a Felipe Franks. Because
Right.
if when you look at Arthur Smith and the fact that Felipe Franks made this roster, and we know that Arthur Smith loves two tight end sets. So you're going to see 12
Yes, Lord.
personnel. You might even see 13. This to
Right.
me, this to me speaks volumes about what Kyle Pitts is doing to also help to spread that offense and make that offense diverse, because we saw him during training camp talking to Felipe Franks and giving him some insight and some guidance on what the field should look like from a tight end's perspective versus just a quarterback's perspective. So I suspect that Kyle Pitts, to your point, rounding out his game, but also not just rounding out his physical game, but his mental game, I think that's going to be a big piece for the Falcons as well. So when we come back, we're going to talk about someone who has rounded out her game quick, fast, and in a hurry to let us know that the game of tennis is in good hands. But we're also going to be talking about someone who doesn't understand who left it in good hands. We'll talk about that and for the culture, as well as, of course, some petty when we come back.
Hater.